Tony's Topics. What's happening, folks? Welcome to Tony's Topics. Today I want to talk football. Let's start off with the Patriots. I don't know how far I'll get with football, but let's start off with the Patriots. Now, at the beginning of the season, I talked about three teams, I got into like this kind of arrangement bet with a friend about three teams. And so those teams were the Patriots, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. Those were the ones that I drafted off top. Okay. So we're in week 10 of football season, and we're looking at the Patriots, who basically are dominating the AFC. Honestly, the AFC in football, and I'm kind of new to football, I really just started watching really this year. I watched, for time, before now I used to watch the Super Bowls, but for the most part I really wasn't a diehard football fan, looking at each game from week to week to week. So either way it goes, but this year something changed and now I'm just into football. So, because that Super Bowl was inspiring. What the Seahawks did to the Broncos, golly. And plus the new ruling in football with them calling pass interference so easily, forcing cornerbacks to really have to find new ways to guard their man, to be able to keep an eye on the man and be able to keep an eye on the passer and be able to try and make an honest attempt at the ball without causing a pass interference. It just makes the game more interesting. Defense has been lowered and thus scores can be much higher. And oh my gosh, what the Broncos are doing to people, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Never in football have scores been this high. I'm used to back in the days when the final score would be like 14-0, 14-3. Boring scores like that. Barely anyone scored. But nowadays, if you go to the bathroom, you might come back and somebody scored a touchdown. So, the game is just on a whole nother level now. The scoring has been kicked up, and I think it just makes the game a lot more interesting. Defense is still there, make no doubt, but the game is just far more interesting, and the kickers are practically kicking the ball from half the field. So if you don't invest in anything else, you better invest in a good kicker. Okay, so with that being said, the Patriots. At this point, they're the kings of the AFC, looking real good. Just got done defeating the Broncos the week before, last week. So, they're looking hot. And honestly, the reason why I put the Patriots off top, because, number one, they always come out with, either the second best record in the AFC. And their issue, and what makes them so good is because they're just so well diversified. Tom Brady's got his boy Gronkowski, who's hitting all the time, and then Revis on defense. They're just a solid team. Offensively, defensively, they're just a well-put-together team. And they really came up because I was nervous during that Broncos game. Any Patriots fan had to be nervous during that Broncos game. We were up 20 points and still nervous during that game. Peyton Manning's ability to be pinpoint accurate is ridiculous. And honestly, if you don't have a really good pass rush, if you don't have a good blitz, then it's over against Peyton Manning. Because if dude gets 3 good seconds, he's hitting with accuracy and he's going to rip you apart. His guys, with his accuracy that he's throwing, his receivers don't even have to gain any yards once they catch the ball. He's just going to make sure they catch first downs and he's just going to kill you with it all day. But anyway, then on top of that, he's got excellent offensive weapons, so yada, yada, yada. I'm just happy my Patriots won. Now, as far as the AFC goes, I think that pretty much wraps it up. There are the Colts out there, and, I'm not going to dismiss the Colts because currently their quarterback has got the highest passing. Peyton Manning is having a record season, a record-breaking season, and yet Andrew Luck is like the leader in passing yards. So, I'm not going to, sit back on the Colts, but as far as a well-put-together team, I just got to ask myself, and I really haven't been paying that much attention to the Colts, but I will this week because I believe the Patriots are playing them. So we'll see just how good the Colts are. Hopefully they just get stomped out and my Patriots keep moving along. That's what I'm going for. But, we'll find out. We'll find out Sunday. We'll find out. So with that pretty much wraps up the AFC. Again, I said, the AFC is like in basketball, to compare it to basketball, they're like the East. Typically 2 real teams are coming out and the rest of them are just like, whatever, keep it pushing. Because, it just seems like the NFC teams just build more to defense. The defense on the NFC teams is just rip your soul out kind of defense. Whoever comes out of the scruffle, because I mean that's what I really noticed last year, because I did start watching the football before. I started watching it in the playoffs more or less, and that's when I was starting to really look at the 49ers and the Seahawks for the first time, and it was just quite obvious with the way their defenses were playing that whoever won the NFC was going to win the whole thing. That was just the way I felt about it, and it just came to pass. Alrighty then. So that pretty much wraps up the AFC as far as I'm concerned. So let's get into the NFC. Where do I want to start? My Seahawks, my 49ers, and you know what? I'm jumping on that Cardinals bandwagon. Who, if you're not jumping on the Cardinals bandwagon, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. There is something special about that team. Okay? And it's on defense. That team is some kind of nasty. If you haven't noticed, the Cardinals have not let one opponent, except for the Broncos, score more than 20 points. Okay, so in a league where defense has been diminished because of so much pass interference, they still managed to keep everyone they've played, except the Broncos, under 20 and under. So that's an impressive goal. I mean, I really can't think of too many other teams that can even say that. So the Cardinals are the real deal. Now, the NFC is wide open. I mean, the Cardinals at this point, the Cardinals are 8-1. So, you just got to respect whatever they're doing. And somebody's going to say, the Cardinals haven't played anyone. Whatever. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys. That's right. They beat your Tony Romo, DeMarco Murray, and Dez Bryant. They whooped them up pretty good. Okay, the Cardinals beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, they beat the Chargers when the Chargers had a much better winning record earlier in the season. So they beat the Chargers too. So let's not go and sleep on Arizona. Now, Arizona's got a real test in Detroit this weekend, and they have arguably the number one defense. I mean, by statistics, Detroit's got the number one defense in the league. So if my Cardinals come out and beat them, then you just got to get on this one. I mean, you better start betting on the Cardinals. Now, somebody's going to say they haven't played the real teams. Okay, like the Broncos or the Patriots or Seattle. And let's just, do I want to get into Seattle in this one? Do I really want to delve into Seattle? The drama, man, my gosh. To see a football team go through so much in a year, wow. But either way it goes. So back to my Cardinals. There's something special about this team. They have got, and that's what really blew me away, right? So in their last game, when they're playing, who was that last team they played? The St. Louis Rams? Somebody, whatever. Either way it goes. So Palmer gets hurt, and I'm like, wow, is that the end of the Cardinals season? No. The Cardinals are a defensive-oriented team. They put in the backup quarterback, and he did just fine. Caught passed for 2 more touchdowns and kept it pushing. I mean, honestly, the Cardinals defense a lot of times is their offense. Their defense is mean. I mean, they're like the second best anti-rushing team in the league or something like that. Is that the Cardinals? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the stats. Either way it goes. I think that's right, though. The Cardinals don't allow anyone to rush on them. I think they're like the second best anti-rush team in the league. And then, and the passing, something about this team allows them to play big when it matters. When it matters, they get those big plays. They get those interceptions. They stop other teams. Again, bottom line, if you can hold Philadelphia under 20 points, if you can hold Dez Bryant and DeMarco Murray under 20 points, there is something special about you. Because the Cowboys' offense, there is nothing nice about it. And if you can hold them, Arizona's got it going on. So, got to give respect to my team's Arizona. I guess that's as far as we can get to in this episode. See you next time. Tony's Topics.